Time for one word and why. Speaking of the lineup, the Mets lineup has had its fair share of struggles over the last couple of weeks. Prior to Sunday, the team had scored 4 runs in their previous 4 games. To break down the lineup a little further, we're going to give one word and why for the following guys. We'll start with Brandon Nimmo. Laura.
Strikeouts. He's been striking out a lot more, and that's just not who he is. He's the guy that gets on base, and when he's not setting the table, the Mets suffer.
Okay. Brandon Nimmo, Danny.
I have dynamic for him. He has been striking out more, especially recently, but he's got a mix of on-base ability and elite center field defense that you just really don't find.
Okay. Starling Marte. Laura.
I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what's going on. But the one thing Buck Showalter did kind of allude to is confidence. You get into that sort of mental funk where you kind of like it builds on itself and it builds on itself and it builds on itself. We saw him in a big situation 2 games ago where he decided to sacrifice bunt, and Starling Marte of last year would have gone and he would have swung away. So maybe right now he's not feeling quite as confident in his at bats.
Yeah, Starling Marte, Danny.
Off is my word for him. He just hasn't looked right all season at the plate, in the outfield. He's coming off double groin surgery, so maybe it's that. He dealt with some neck issues. Maybe part of it is that. He was one of the most important cogs in their lineup last year, to the point where they lost him late in the season. I think if they didn't lose him, they hang on, win the division, and maybe they go on a run. So I really don't have much reason right now for optimism when it comes to Marte. He really just hasn't looked like himself. Hopefully that changes.
Yeah, it seems just really uncharacteristic from him. Daniel Vogelback.
Limited. I know I've had a lot of back and forth on Twitter with some people about this. I think Daniel Vogelback is a fine hitter. He's an elite on-base guy. I thought about going with passive here, but he's started to get a little less passive the last couple of days, so I went with limited. The main issue to me is that he has great on-base ability, but it's less valuable since he's a station guy. He's hit for little power. He really can't play the field. He can't hit lefties. I think he's miscast as the regular DH, and that's why I've gone with limited.
Okay. How about you, Laura?
Yeah, I kind of had the same feeling, but even just going back, I'm going to go with that a little aggression or lack thereof. He does have that power. I would like to see him be able to swing the bat a little bit more, and I do feel there were times that he was passive at the plate.
Okay. Pete Alonso, Danny.
I went with powerful, which is obvious. Pete's a talented hitter. He can shorten up, go the other way. But when I think of Pete, I know he's not just a masher, but I think of that thunder in his bat.
Laura?
For me, it's protection. I wish he had more protection in the lineup. I wish pitchers were in a situation where they absolutely have to pitch to him because he does have that power and he does have that game-changing ability.
Yeah, protection is huge. Okay, last one, Jeff McNeil, Laura.
Oh man, I think he's just a great. I was at a sports bar yesterday, and there was these 2 elderly guys, and they're like, "That's a ball player right there. That's a ball player." So he's a ball player. I really do think his ability to just produce, to get on base, to choke up on the bat, do what he has to do. That's just a big boon to the lineup.
Yeah, Danny.
In that same vein, I went with intense. He's always going 100 miles per hour, whether he's at the plate, in the field. His drive is off the charts. And there was something funny over the weekend where he argued with a call. Again, another word I can't use, but McNeil is intense. He's always 100 miles an hour, and he helps his club go.
Yeah. Okay. We have another fan question from Jonathan Seaback from Twitter, and he's asking: the Mets clearly need another power hitter in the lineup. So who should they target before the deadline this summer? Laura, let's start with you.
I mean, I honestly don't know. You just need somebody who could get on base. You need somebody who can hit for power. But frankly, I look at that and I'm like, just bring up Mark Vientos. Like, give him a shot. I think he could really. I think he could really boost this lineup. You already have something in house. Go that route.
How about you, Danny?
I think it might be too early. I mean, if I'm looking at possible targets, I'm probably looking toward the White Sox because they're just such an absolute mess right now. But like Laura said, I mean, if you want power, you can try Vientos. And you could even try Mauricio down the line. But right now, I think they're kind of stuck with what they've got.
Okay. Sticking with the lineup, if you were to be manager for a day, what lineup would you send out and why? Danny, let's start with you.
All right. I've got Nimmo, center field, leading off. I have McNeil sliding up to second. I've got Lindor third at shortstop. I've got Pete at first. I've got Beatty at third. I've got Marte down to sixth. And I've got Alvarez sliding up to 7. 8 and 9 depends on whether it's a righty or lefty on the mound. Against lefties, I'm going to DH Escobar. I'm going to play Count in the outfield. Against righties, I'm going to DH Vogelback. I'm going to play Pham in left. And they'd be hitting 8th and 9th respectively.
Okay.
Wow, that is remarkably similar to what I got, except I would probably move Kenna up right behind Beatty. So
love that. On the same page here. Okay, what do you think needs to happen to get this lineup going again? Moving Beatty up yesterday seemed to work, just like you mentioned, Laura. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I do like Jeff McNeil higher up in the lineup just because of his ability to get on base. I think setting the table for Pete would be great. You want to see maybe Francisco get on base a little bit more, but I think that'll happen. And I like Beatty up higher in the lineup.
Okay. How about you, Jenny?
I think Marte needs to start hitting, and if he does that, the whole dynamic changes. Lindor and Alonso, they have to heat up, and the Mets have to base their playing time on performance. I'm not saying they should bench Vogelback. He's been getting on base a lot. I'm not saying it's time to give up on Pham. He's had some flashes, but they've got to be a little less patient, I think, when it comes to shaking things up.